Hollywood's greatest dancer was watching a movie in 1943. Halfway through, he saw a performance that made him do something he'd never done before and never did again. He called the director. He called the choreographer. He called everyone he knew. Because what he just witnessed shattered everything he believed about what a human body could do on film. His name was Fred Astaire, and he just watched two brothers, one 18, one 22, perform an unrehearsed staircase routine that he would spend the rest of his life calling the single greatest dance number ever filmed. Their names were Fayard and Harold Nicholas. Here's what most people don't know. In 1930s, Philadelphia, two brothers with zero formal training watched vaudeville performers from the audience. They had no teachers, no choreographers, just their parents' orchestra playing in the pit and an obsession with motion. Fayard taught himself first. Harold copied him. By 1932, they were performing at Harlem's Cotton Club at ages 18 and 11, dancing alongside Calloway and Duke Ellington. The audiences there were so stunned that word spread instantly. Producers from Hollywood heard the whispers, but here's the part that haunts me. When they finally appeared in films, over 50 of them, studios had a problem. The Nicholas brothers were black, and America wasn't ready for that. So they made a choice. They filmed the brothers performing their most incredible sequences, but only as isolated specialty acts. Why? Because theaters in the South could cut those scenes out before the reels played. The greatest dancers of the era were literally erased from half the country. Despite that erasure, despite the discrimination, despite being told they'd never have leading roles, they kept performing. And in 1943, choreographer Nick Castle gave them an impossible assignment, a staircase routine in Stormy Weather with Calloway's orchestra. "Don't rehearse it," Castle said. "Just do it." No preparation, no safety net. One take. What happened next became legend. According to the Library of Congress Performing Arts Encyclopedia, they created what would be called classical tap, a revolutionary fusion of jazz, ballet, and acrobatics that literally defied gravity. They leapfrogged down a full flight of stairs, landing in perfect splits. They catapulted over each other's heads mid-descent. They rose from splits without touching their hands to the ground, all in one unrehearsed take. When Fred Astaire saw that footage, he understood immediately. These weren't just tap dancers. They were artists who'd invented something entirely new. As documented in NPR's 1991 Kennedy Center Honors interview, Astaire told them directly, their jump and jive routine was the greatest movie musical number ever filmed. Not one of the greatest, the greatest. Years later, Mikhail Baryshnikov, one of history's most celebrated ballet dancers, watched them and said, "Those guys are perfect examples of pure genius." Gregory Hines declared that if their story was ever made into a film, the dance sequences would have to be computer-generated because no living dancer could replicate what they did. Gene Kelly handpicked them to perform with him. Donald O'Connor said they were the greatest dancers of all time. But Hollywood never gave them their own film. They never got the leading roles. They never got equal billing. According to the Los Angeles Times, their performances were cut from theaters in the South. While Fred Astaire was building his empire, the Nicholas brothers were building dance history that the world barely saw. Fayard Nicholas was born in 1914, Harold in 1921. They performed together for decades. Broadway, nightclubs, concerts, tours across Latin America, Europe, and Africa. In 1991, at the Kennedy Center Honors, they finally received the recognition they'd always deserved. Fayard lived to be 91, passing in 2006. Harold died in 2000. But here's what matters. On that single staircase in 1943, two self-taught brothers created the most technically perfect dance sequence ever captured on film. No formal training, no rehearsal, just pure, undeniable genius. And the man who mastered dance itself, Fred Astaire, looked at it and realized he'd just witnessed something he could never do. The greatest dancers of all time weren't taught by academies. They discovered themselves. And when the world finally caught up, it was in a footnote to history instead of the headlines where it belonged. What gets me most about this story isn't just the incredible dancing, it's that the world almost missed it entirely. If those films had been cut from theaters, or if Fred Astaire hadn't spoken up, how many other geniuses have we overlooked because of discrimination? Drop your thoughts in the comments. What historical figures do you think deserved way more credit than they got?